you're done. That's why you're not scared to be happy. The smarter you are, the more you know. Happiness is a trap. It can't last forever. Let's say you meet the love of your life. Well, it's still gonna end. It's inevitable, whether by the slow pull of a disease or the shock of loose footing on a hiking trail, whether it be the corrosion of two personalities that reshape each other until they're incompatible, or maybe the old stranger in a bar who says the things that need to be said to that person that night. The point is, happiness always ends. Best case scenario, think about this. Best case is that you die at the same time.
Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. Your home for the most accurate TA in 2025. Go back and look at the videos. Let's start off on Bitcoin. Ethereum also went straight to target, guys. So I'll give you an update on Ethereum. It's right at that 3,800 level. Solana's breaking out. Those charts are on this video as well. And before we kick this thing off, if you guys want to hang out with us on the Discord, go to our website, marketmakers.trade. You can join our Discord straight through our website. And if you want my members only videos on YouTube, which includes my education series, you can join that membership right through YouTube with the join button. Let's look at this, guys. This is the chart that I built, the 4-year cycle top, the 4-year cycle bottom. This is a fractal pattern Bitcoin has repeated over and over again since 2013. And you may say, well, Brendan, that's not that long ago. Bitcoin hasn't existed that long, guys. So look at how this has played out so beautifully. Every 4 years, November, December, going all the way back to 2013, you get your Bitcoin top. 2013, 2017 in December, 2021 in November, topped right with the NASDAQ, right with the Russell. And of course, the next timing for the top is November, December 2025. This would be a cycle top. What happens at the end of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle top? That would be 75, 80% drawdowns, 75, 80% drawdowns, and it will again be a 75, 80% drawdown. Life-changing money on the way up, life-changing money on the way down. Important concept to understand. The other important thing on this chart is our warning signal. We have a warning signal that has played out going all the way back in this cycle. The RMA. Once this RMA crosses the beach ball here, the previous cycle high of 69K, you have 30 days for Bitcoin to be topping, okay? So Bitcoin comes up to target 168, could go above it, but that's my target based on ratios. 168 within 30 days, that top should be in. This worked beautifully in 2017. It worked beautifully, or 2021, it worked beautifully in 2017 as well. You get a 30-day notice. Within that 30-day window, Bitcoin should be topping before the massive drop of 75, 80%. Key things to understand. And where's the RMA right now? Right now, we are 13,000 points away from the previous 2021 high, okay? 13,000 points away. So for those of you that can't do math like Lee, that means we're at 56,000 right now on the RMA. So 56,000, you have 13,000 more points before you cross the previous cycle high. I'm expecting a retracement. We're going to get into that here in the videos. Let's go ahead and look at this next chart. By the way, guys, you want to trade Bitcoin, you want to trade the cryptos, you can support the channel if you like my content. Check out Bitunix. Anybody can trade there. You can fully register or you can just trade with an email. You don't need a VPN. Use our link. It helps support the channel, be a Market Makers VIP. Again, simplified pattern here, guys. Simplified fractal here. Simplified targets for Bitcoin. Where is this going and where will it retrace to? Literally the million-dollar question, right? I believe you're going to 132. We have Powell coming up in 9 days. Hence the title, Time is Running Out. Why does that mean? Why is time running out? Because if Powell does not cut, which he's not expected to, you have generational rally that occurred on the equities. They're going to put in the same exact top, same exact drop that they've done the last 2 years in a row. S&P will fall somewhere between 8 and 11%. As it's done the last 2 years in a row. It's gone down 10+% the last 2 years in a row. What does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, despite what people tell you on YouTube, Bitcoin will not go up when the overall markets are hemorrhaging trillions of dollars, okay? So what I'm looking at for Bitcoin is to break out and come up to our 132 target, start to top, and then it's about the retracement. What is the most bullish scenario for a Bitcoin retracement after it gets to 132? The most bullish scenario is to hold your previous resistance of 109 right here, which we hit beautifully. Target 1, right? We hit that beautifully to hold that for support. So Bitcoin would come up to 132, chop around, come down to 100 to 110K. This would be absolutely perfect and gives us a nice opportunity to base and then slingshot for our blow off cycle top November, December 2025, 168K. Okay, that's what I'm thinking for Bitcoin. What is that actual retracement level? If we take it from 132 and we come down to 109, that's only 17%. Doesn't seem likely. Seems like it'd be a little bit deeper. You come down to 100K, right in that level, you're at 24, 25%. And of course, if it comes down, it needs to hold this market structure. If Bitcoin does what it's done the last 2 July tops in a row and retraces 30%, look at how it lines up with your market structure. It lines up right with the base of your fractal. 89K, 92K, right in that window. So basically, if it comes down to 90K, it's done the same thing percentage-wise that it's done the last 2 years in a row. If it stays above 90K, let's say 100 to 110, that's hyper bullish. Either way, it's bullish. Either way, I believe you're coming up to your top, your blow-off cycle top, okay? And when you look at how this is played out in these waves, you had your big wave up, you had your flagging pattern down, and then you tested this with the fractal, you tested your previous accumulation range to the penny, right? And then what did the next wave do? The next wave went up, hit target 109K, sold back off, and then where did it test for support? The previous top of the accumulation range. So this would make sense. Come up to 132, come down to 100, 110, right in here. Use these candle structures as your support structure, right? Not even needing Fibonacci to look at this. And then you base, and then you break back out to the upside, 168K cycle top, okay? That's what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin. 132 also gives us the doubling of our range, literally to the dollar, okay? Beautiful movement to 132. So how do we get to 132? Again, PAL is on the 30th. Tariffs kick in August 1st. We have a solar eclipse August 2nd, not visible in the US. But again, there's just a lot of events happening around that time frame and a generational rally in the markets that's tiring, that's wearing, that hasn't even pulled back. And the markets have sold off after July tops the last 2 years in a row. PAL gives a perfect opportunity to put that top in place. Why are the altcoins running though? When you look at the altcoins, they're running because here's Bitcoin dominance. Look at the dominance, how it's played out in this channel beautifully, right? You have your top hit here at the channel, came back down to your midline, hit our 1618 perfectly, sold off something fierce, breaking the bottom of the channel. I think you're going to pause right around that 60% level at the 50% retracement. Why do I say that? I'm going to show you in the next chart, but I think this is going to start pausing, basing just like this over here, and start coming back up because I think you're going to get the next leg up in Bitcoin soon, okay? Right now, dominance is dropping. Altcoins are running. Let's click through some charts. Bitcoin on the daily time frame. When is our next key pivot? That would be on the 24th, okay? The 24th. We'll be looking for some type of turn in the market. Because we are not at target yet, my bias is to believe somewhere thereabouts the 24th. Remember, PAL is on literally the 30th, 6 days later. I want to see Bitcoin break out to that 132 target. Again, does it have to? No, it doesn't have to do anything. It could be topping here and then dropping, and the altcoins are going to run between now and PAL. But I think you're getting to that 132. It's just my bias. Now, when you look at this positioning, and you can say, how do you determine bias? You have your low after your 30% sell off, and then you have your higher low. Now you have a higher low. You are in a bullish uptrend. So when you're going in a Wyckoff fractal sideways, my bias is to believe you're continuing that uptrend because, again, I trade with patterns and we haven't got to the pattern target. Some interesting things here. Obviously, our targets, we can pull this from the 109. down to that retracement low. And look at that. There's your 132. You guys know I have literally 4 or 5 different macro patterns that take us to that 132. It's not that far. You could start seeing the turn there around the 24th, 25th, whatever. Come up to that 132. It's literally, what, 14,000 points, 13,000 points away. We're at 118.8 right now. It's 13,000 points away to get to target. That's what I want to see happen here on Bitcoin, okay? Now, some other interesting things. Let me get rid of this. We look at this. If we just look at this, I showed you that retracement without Fibonacci, just market structure. And again, if you look at this, just pulling a Fib retracement, I'm going to assume 132, okay? So let's just assume 132 here. And again, when we look at these measurements, you come to 132, right about there. And here's your actual Fibonacci retracements. To come down to 103 is a 50% retracement. It's a 21% drawdown, right? And if we put the 382 on here, which would be hyper bullish to only retrace to the 382, you put that on there, that's at 110. So that same range I told you, 100 to 110, right? 100 to 110 is hyper bullish. 110 is only a 16% retracement. It gives you support of all this topping structure, all of the tops of these structures over here. So again, very, very bullish. Want to see this last move and then come down and then take off. We look at our indicators, guys. I mean, look at the DVD, my custom volume indicator. This is buyers and sellers. Look at the compression on the DVD. We exited the range, bullish volume, it confirms the trend. Look at that. You can't even draw that. It's just little dots. That is range compression. And there's going to be a breakout on volume to the upside or to the downside. And I believe it will be to the upside. Look at my money flow, bullish. Look at the ADX trend, still bullish. So everything's telling me I still think we're moving up towards the 132 target. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's look at Bitcoin on the 8-hour chart. You can see the same exact pattern. We broke out of this Fibonacci resistance line. We based, we shot up, and now you're just doing another Wyckoff fractal up and down. And here's your pivot, July 24th. Let's see what happens here if we can start getting, again, the next leg to begin. Indicators look the same. I mean, even more dramatic here on the 8-hour time frame. Look at the volume delta. Look at that. That's incredible, right? That's going to explode up or down. I think it's going to explode up. You're going to get that last 13, 14,000 points to get to target. Update on Ethereum, it went right to target. If you didn't see what, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch my Ethereum video. It is right there on X. It's also on YouTube. But Ethereum, I think it's going to fade out here. 3,800 was my target, the 4,100. You're at 38.35. Again, this has been key resistance since March of 2024. I don't think Ethereum is dying. I think it's going to top in this range, and I think it's going to pull back for support. Where would Ethereum pull back for support? Remember, if Bitcoin gets to 132 and then tops and then drops, the equities get to their targets and top and drop. What's going to happen with Ethereum? Look at your support structure. Since March of 2024, 3,000 is a key support zone right there, right? 3,000. Beneath that, this market structure from our W fractal that you broke out from is key support. You have the same thing on Solana. We're going to look at that next. But you have this same structure right here. You have your W fractal that you broke out of. You want to learn these fractals, check out my education course on YouTube or on the Discord. Same thing, guys. So you have the same exact type of pattern. And if this thing comes back down, those are my two retracement levels I'd be looking at. The 3,000 right here at your key support line you've been at. Look at all the times you tested 3,000. All of this mess back here in 2024. All of this mess in late 2024 into early 2025. So you can see Ethereum come up, hit it's already at 3,800 to 4,100, come down to 3,000, base once again. And what's the next move? The next move is to come up with Bitcoin, take out your all-time high, 4,865, and come up to new all-time highs. Deeper retracement, 2,700, right? And if you measure this, and people think these numbers are crazy, guys, these are just the same moves they've done over and over again. Look at the retracements Ethereum's done. I mean, look at this retracement. This retracement is massive, right? It went all the way down to 65%, 66%. We're talking about Ethereum. Let's just take it from, let's split the baby here. We'll take it from like 4,000, right? 4,000. down to 3,000 is literally 23%. That is nothing. 4,000 down to 2,700 is a 31% move. This is nothing, and it's right in line with the retracements Ethereum's been doing in trend. Look at some of these retracements back here. You come back here, this is a 31% retracement. This one's even deeper. Again, this is a bullish retracement Ethereum we're doing, 46%. This would be very bullish, right in line, doesn't change the overall outcome of Ethereum, which is ultimately making a new all-time high. It's just a pullback retracement. Watch 3,000, watch 2,700, watch for topping action, 3,800, 4,100. Solana, same thing. Solana's breaking out now. You still got the midpoint in the fractal. You're at 194 at the recording. Watch 205, 210 in that area, and then watch 225. Then what will Solana do? Same thing Ethereum does, same thing Bitcoin does, same thing the markets will do. It's going to come back down. Where would it look for support? Previous market structure. Okay, so you could see Solana back at 175. Overall, it's going to come back up again to much higher targets. If we look at just from a Fibonacci standpoint as well, measure Solana here, pull this chart up, get some Fibonacci targets on Solana. If I can stop misclicking, need some less caffeine. If we come up to 225, which we don't know if we will, but if we come up to 225, look at your 382 retracement is 175, right? That's super bullish. Look at that. That's super bullish right in that market structure, right back up again when Bitcoin comes up for the cycle top. And if you look beneath that, 160, 145, again, it's all looking at this market structure right here, which is what I think is going to happen with Solana. So overall, very bullish. Good breakout here. Solana, watch 200 to 225, see if it comes up in this range, and then watch the pullback, 175, 160, ultimately back up to the upside. All right, guys, check out my markets video. That is out next.